Hey guys, Alyssa Lebrecq, nutritionist and gut expert. I am so excited to be back. I needed a little bit of a break, I won't lie. It's been, how do you say it? Crazy, I guess, between this whole quarantine thing and just the world basically being a hot mess. But we're also getting married. Eric and I are getting married this summer, and so we've been planning a wedding in the middle of a pandemic, and it's been insane. But anyways, I needed to take some of my own advice, get some rest, get my creative juices back, and I'm here, and I'm excited to chat with you guys tonight. So, I have been asked so many times, like, I think when we're dealing with SIBO, which we'll talk about in a hot second, the number one question I get asked in our free Facebook group, the Love Your Guts IBS support group, is how do I get tested? Where do I get tested? Like, my doctor doesn't believe me. My doctor doesn't even know what SIBO is, doesn't want to test me for it. Like, I hear all of the different variables, which we're going to go through tonight. And so I thought there was no other topic that we could kickstart these Facebook Lives back with than this one right here. So where to get tested for SIBO and how to properly prep for it. So you got to prep for the test. You have to prep for a SIBO test up to 2 weeks minimum before you actually do the test. And so most people who have been given the test in the past have likely done it wrong or have been not given the proper prep instructions. Not their fault. It's a mess out there. So I got you covered. We're going to dive into all the details. I'm going to be totally upfront. If you guys are watching this video right now, then there's a good chance that you suspect you have SIBO and you probably already have an idea of what SIBO is. I'm not going to take the time to go through and explain that in this video. We've got lots of other videos that we cover that in. Specifically, if you're looking for more videos on SIBO, jump over to our YouTube channel, Alyssa Lebrecq Gut Expert. And the names of them are How to Know If You Have SIBO and the 6 Things That Can Cause SIBO. So check those out if you're wanting more information. Generally, I'm just going to keep it high level. SIBO stands for Small Intestinal Bacterial Overgrowth. It will make you miserable. It will rock your world. You're probably feeling pregnant, bloated, look like you're pregnant, but you're actually bloated, not actually pregnant. If you know, you know. Okay, so you're bloating and you look legit full. For some of our clients, that might be like a 2 to 3 month looking pregnant person. Some of our clients look legit 7 to 8 months pregnant when they come into the program. Again, not pregnant, bloated. You might be feeling really gassy, like trapped gas, especially like right underneath the rib cage. You might be even hearing gurgling, sloshing going around. You're probably dealing with like chronic constipation. Doesn't matter how many laxatives you take, nothing seems to be working. Diarrhea, if you are someone who has diarrhea and potentially SIBO, you are probably struggling to get it under control, living on Imodium, and even sometimes that doesn't work. And we're talking like raging diarrhea, like water, oatmeal texture. It's like never formed. Right? Some people will fluctuate between diarrhea and constipation with SIBO if you have both types. Not as common, but definitely a possibility. What are some other fun symptoms? You're exhausted, you're miserable, you can't eat any foods, feel like you're running out of foods to eat, you've tried all the dang supplements, nothing is working. SIBO, we got to talk about SIBO. Here's why. Up to 80% of people who have been diagnosed with IBS actually have SIBO, okay? So that's the breakdown, high-level summary of what the hell SIBO is. But again, go watch those other videos for more details. The purpose of this video tonight is really to focus, let's deep dive in right away on where to get tested, all the testing details. So first thing, why do you need to be tested? Because I'm seeing a lot of doctors who don't want to test for SIBO. And here's the reason why that happens. In a doctor's mind, if you, let's say, do test positive for SIBO, the route that they're going to walk you down is antibiotics. It's the only thing they have in their toolbox, right? It's like a one-trick pony. Oh, you've got SIBO, here, take this antibiotic, okay? challenge with that is two things. One, what we're seeing is a lot of doctors just don't want to bother testing. They're like, do you know what? You probably have SIBO. We're going to give you an antibiotic anyways, so just take it. Okay. The second problem is that antibiotics haven't been proven to be particularly effective. So studies have shown only 60% success rate with a 90% reoccurrence rate, meaning it's going to come back and it's going to come back worse. Why is that? Well, the reason is because the antibiotics don't fix the reason why the bacteria came in the first place. So this is why you need to test, because you need to understand what type of SIBO you have and how bad it is, okay? The thing with antibiotics, a lot of the times they'll give you a round of antibiotics, and most doctors are becoming more transparent about how ineffective they are and how you're going to do a round of antibiotics, and most of them will tell you now, you're going to be back in 6 months. You're going to need to come back and get more antibiotics. But unless you want to live on antibiotics the rest of your life, I'm going to suggest that we go a different route. Sound good? So you need to know what type you have, how bad it is, because this is going to determine what supplementation you're going to need, in what dosage you're going to need it, and also the length of time that it's going to take roughly to kick it. I'll give you an example. When we have a client that comes into the program, we get them tested, or I should say they get tested. We don't do the testing ourselves. So they get tested for SIBO, they find out they've got it, and they have like a mild case. Someone like that can typically kick SIBO, depending on the person, within 4 to 6 months, okay? When we have a client that comes into the program with a much more severe case, to be perfectly transparent, it's going to take you 6 months to a year. Now, that's not what you want to hear, I know, but I want to be really realistic with you so that you can have realistic expectations. This is also why so many people are failing to get rid of SIBO. A bunch of people, are saying, we have said in our group over the years, oh, well, I'm scared if I have SIBO. I've heard that you can't kick it or it always comes back. No, if you don't follow a proper protocol, and you don't stick to it long enough, then yeah, it will come back, right? Because you never fully got rid of it. That's what happened, right? So you need to be tested, and you need to know what kind you have, and you also need to go in with the mindset that this could take you 6 months to a year to fully get rid of. You're going to see symptoms improve. We have our clients, they see improvements within the first 2 weeks. However, to fully get your levels back into balance, at most 6 months to a year, okay? Realistic expectations. Not going to blow smoke up anyone's ass here. We're not about making bold promises that aren't going to be delivered, all right? So when you test, there's a couple of problems that I'm actually seeing. I have something in my eye here. There's a couple of problems that I'm seeing throughout North America, okay? If for those outside of North America, we love you, we still can work with you and help you and everything. I'm just not as familiar with what's provided in all of the countries across the world. I know like in Australia, we have a lot of clients that have been able to get testing there. India gets a little bit trickier. Some of these other countries, I guess I don't know because I can't keep up with the whole world. So here's the thing. You're going to find, if you're in Canada, for those that are in Canada, you cannot get this testing done through your doctor. Can't be done. Your doctor's going to think you're nuts, not know what you're talking about, or again, some doctors are starting to become more familiar with it in Canada, so they'll say, don't worry about the testing, just take the antibiotic. I'm seeing that that's not happening very often. Most often, I'm having doctors basically laugh their patients out of the office. And again, most, not speaking for all doctors, but most doctors. And some of the most severe cases of SIBO I have seen through our clients have been turned away at the doctor's office. So please don't think that just because your doctor doesn't know what it is, won't acknowledge it, or just won't test you, that it's not legit or that it's not a real thing, or that you can't get tested. You can, you just have to tap into third-party labs, okay, that don't require requisition from your doctor. We're gonna get to that in just a second. So that's the first problem. For those in Canada, testing accessibility is a challenge from the medical system. It just doesn't exist. And OHIP, like your health coverage insurance, will not cover it. It's not covered, okay? It's just the way it is. In the United States, for our clients, our potential clients, all of you guys who are watching, you're living in the States, hello. Here's the thing for you guys. What I'm seeing for our US clients is that doctors are, again, a couple of situations, rarely do they not know what it is. You guys in the States are a little bit more advanced than us slow folks in Canada, or slow doctors in Canada. So in the States, rarely do I hear a doctor not know what SIBO is. Mostly in like smaller rural towns. The other scenario that I'm seeing is they, again, won't test. They're saying, do you know what, just take the antibiotic. Let's not go that route. If you're just tuning in, go back and listen to the part where I explain the antibiotic route, okay? The third thing is they will do the testing in office. Okay, here's the problem I'm running into. When doctors are doing the testing in office, what they're testing for is just hydrogen. They're not doing a full proper SIBO test. They're only doing a 1 hour test, and I'm gonna lay out what you need to make sure you're getting tested with or for. But they're not doing a full proper SIBO test. And so what's happening is we're seeing a lot of people come into our program. They have had testing done. The doctor's telling them that it's negative, but their symptoms are screaming SIBO. Like they are again, pregnant, bloat, can't poop or can't stop pooping, in pain, absolutely exhausted, miserable, reacting to all the foods, but they're negative for SIBO according to the doctor. So when we actually take a look at their testing, they're not getting properly tested and they're not being taught how to properly prep for that test. We get them retested and sure enough, they have SIBO. Okay, they end up testing positive when tested properly for SIBO. So I'm sharing this with you guys so that you guys don't waste your time, energy, or money on shit that is not correct or going to work for you. You guys have already spent a ton of money on random supplements that aren't going to work. If you have SIBO, probiotics, enzymes, all of those supplements you've been investing in are not going to do shit for you until you get rid of the bacteria. Okay, so this is why it feels like you've tried everything and it feels like nothing has worked. So let's get the data from your body so we know exactly the plan that we need to put in place to get you feeling better. All right, let's talk next on, first of all, where you can get the testing. So I don't do the testing. All right, we don't facilitate the testing for our clients. You do not order the tests through us. These tests are ordered through third-party labs online, and there's different places that you need to order from depending on where you're located. So if you're in Canada, the link, I've just included it in the link above. You order right off of the website and you don't need a requisition from your doctor. If you're in the United States, same thing. I've included a link above for the US lab that you can order from. I'm just realizing I had a bit of an airhead moment and I didn't include the link for anyone in Europe, Asia, anywhere outside of North America. So if that's you and you need to order the test as well, I can get you a link for that lab too. I apologize, I forgot to put it in the comments above, but I'll add it after, okay? Anyways, so links above for where to order these tests from. Again, I don't do the test. I don't facilitate the testing. I'm not a lab, okay? I'm also not a doctor. I'm a registered holistic nutritionist, in case you're wondering. All right. Yeah, I'm trying to click Tina on your message here. I have a test set up I'm going to say in Oregon through my gastroenterologist, but I'm scared it's going to cause a flare up. I took antibiotics for 8 weeks. Okay, guys. So this is why we need to talk about making sure you're getting the proper test and being taught how to prep for it. Tina, if you've been on antibiotics for 8 weeks, you can't do that test right now. You're going to get false results, okay? So guys, I'm gonna get you all the prep instructions today, so don't worry, but let's just talk about the proper test that you need to have done. And it's why we recommend the labs above. Are there cheaper options online? Heck yes. Are they the right testing? Fuck no. Okay, so don't waste your money. Just stop wasting your money, guys, okay? Don't try and cheap your way out of this, because when you do that, sometimes you get what you pay for. And this is where I'm seeing, again, people come into the program, they've spent money, but they're not getting the right testing, and that's a waste of your money. So here's what the test needs to include, okay? Your test needs to be a 3-hour test. 3 hours, not 1 hour. Again, for those in the States that are getting testing done through their doctors, the doctors usually only doing an hour-long test, not enough. You need a 3-hour test. Promise me, 3 hours. Write this shit down if you need to, okay? 3 hours. Next, you need to make sure that it's testing for both methane and hydrogen. Methane and hydrogen. Those are the 2 different types of SIBO that can be tested. There's a 3rd type of SIBO called hydrogen sulfide, or a 3rd type of gas, I should say. Hydrogen sulfide cannot be tested at this point. We can see indicators of it through a full, proper SIBO test, testing for methane and hydrogen SIBO, all right? So those are the 2 gases that need to be tested. If you're only being tested for hydrogen, you're only getting 50% of the picture. That's like going into your mechanic and saying, just install 2 tires on my car, please. You wouldn't do that, right? So methane and hydrogen. The next thing, you need to make sure they're using the solution lactulose, not lactose, lactulose, okay? So technically the test is called a 3-hour lactulose breath test. So the testing is done through breathing. You breathe into this tube, okay? So you're not drawing blood at home, don't worry. So what am I saying? Lactulose. So you need to make sure it's a lactulose solution. Yes, there are other tests that you can do with like glucose. They're not as effective. We've seen that the lactulose breath test is sort of the gold standard at this point in SIBO testing. Okay, let me make sure I'm not missing anything. Yes, couple more things. You need to make sure they're doing at least 8 breath samples. For some reason, when you call the doctors, I've had clients do this, they call the doctor and they're like, it's a 3-hour test, right? And the nurse practitioner, whoever's like, yep, it's 3 hours. And then they go in and we get the results and it wasn't a freaking 3-hour test. And they only did like 4 to 6 breath samples. So this is one way that you can double check to make sure they're understanding correctly the test that you're looking for. So at least 8 breath samples. If you're breathing in a tube roughly every 20 minutes over a 3-hour period, okay? The last thing that you need to ensure, all is irrelevant unless you do this. You need to prep for that test properly, okay? Otherwise, you're going to get false results, potentially, okay? When I see results, again, that have shown negative for SIBO, and we take a look at all of these different things. Did it have all these things? Was it lactulose solution, 3 hours, 8 samples, all of this stuff? Prepping has to happen, okay? So your doctor will probably only give you 24-hour prep instructions if you were to do it through them, if you're lucky. All right, you need at least 2 weeks, in some cases 4 weeks. So if you've been on antibiotics, for example, you need at least, or ideally 4 weeks, at least 2 weeks before you even think about doing a SIBO test. Okay, there's dietary changes, there's a whole bunch of factors that you need to take into account. And so what I've done is I've put together a PDF, because there's so much that you need to know to prep for that test, again, 2 to 4 weeks in advance. I've put together the PDF that we give all of our clients, and I'm going to get it to you guys, but what we're going to do is send it over to you. So if you want the prep instructions, if you guys can just drop in the comments the word prep, P-R-E-P, drop it like it's hot. What I'm going to do is get my team, it'll be over the next day or two, depending on how many of you guys ask for it. It might fall into early next week, but we'll get it over to you. Drop prep in the comments and we will get our team to private message that over to you so you can get that document and know how to properly prep. So when you get the test, again, it's going to come with prep instructions, but it will likely only be a 24-hour prep instruction, manual or whatever you want to call it. You need the full prep instructions. Okay, so let me know in the comments. We'll be in touch in the next couple of days or so. And again, I'll have my team send that over to you. It'll be Karen or Robin, and maybe even Laura will get in there depending on how many people jump in. But I'm going to get you those instructions, guys. So if you're needing to get tested for SIBO, first of all, make sure you have all of those parameters, or you can just order through the third-party labs above. Again, we don't do the testing. We don't do testing at all for our clients. It's outside of my scope of practice. We help you source out the testing, and then we put the plan in place to help you kick it. So here's the thing, guys. If you have SIBO, when you get your results, let me know what your results are so that we can get you some support and then teach you how to properly kick this. One of the big mistakes that a lot of people make is they find out, holy shit, I have SIBO. Like, I have methane dominant SIBO, or I have hydrogen dominant SIBO, or like, holy fuck, I've got both. What do I do? Right? When you find out what you have, then they often just want to tackle the bacteria. They're like, we're going to get in there, we're going to do this cleanse, and we're going to kick all the bacteria out. You can't do that, okay? You can't do that. There's a bit of a pecking order here. So one of the first things we actually walk our clients through in the program is poop. Like, we gotta get you pooping properly. Imagine it this way. If you have all of this bacteria and you start taking all these supplements or antibiotics even to weed out and kick out the bacteria, if you're not pooping properly, and I mean either not enough or too much, like you're not properly bulking and forming a stool, aka diarrhea, or you're too constipated that you're not eliminating at all or enough, then all of those bacteria, it's like a chemical shitstorm in your body, and it's like a tornado of bacteria that can't be eliminated, and you are going to feel rough. Like rough. We call this a die-off. We call it like a healing crisis. You're going to feel like a bag of shit, quite literally. So this is why when you get your results, reach back out to us. Let us know what your results are so that we can then support you and see if it makes sense for us to work together to be able to get this fixed for you. Okay? So get the test. Find out what your results are, and then you need to get a plan in place to not just kick the bacteria, but also fix the reason why they came in the first place so they don't keep coming back. Sound good? All right, guys, we've given you some really awesome action steps to take tonight so you can get massive clarity. The number one thing our clients always say when they get the results, it's like, I feel so relieved knowing I have SIBO, because it makes so much sense now. I finally understand why I have felt so terrible and why nothing has worked. And so I'm really excited for you guys to get that clarity too. And then we can get you some support if you feel you need it. Alrighty? Okay, guys, I hope you have an awesome night. Again, if you want those prep instructions for the SIBO test, just let us know in the comments, drop prep in the comments, and we'll just get that PDF download that we give our clients over to you in Messenger. All right, guys, have an awesome night. We'll talk soon. Bye.